How's it going, guys and geeks? Welcome back to the Geekritique show. My name is Dakota.
And I'm Jen.
And we're going to be discussing Doctor Who. We're going to be discussing one of our first classic stories that we're going to be reviewing on our Who Review series. As you guys probably already realized, we're going to be continuing the series outside of the current episodes that are airing, because there are no current episodes airing currently until Christmas. But today, we're going to be discussing the first story of the E-Space trilogy, Full Circle, which is a 4-episode run. Jen, this isn't your first time watching a Tom Baker story, is it?
Not my first rodeo.
Which one have you seen previously?
I don't remember what it's called, but they were in Paris.
City of Death. We'll have to rewatch that one to do a Who review on it, I think.
Yeah, it's been a long time, too. I think that's when we were, dating, so it was like...
Yeah, that's another story with Hermana.
Yeah, so that's why she wasn't new to me either. This Adric guy, though. This math magician.
I don't think he's actually called a math magician or a mathematician.
What did he get, an excellence in mathematics?
I don't expect special treatment!
Don't you? Isn't that what the star's for?
That is for mathematical excellence.
So the boy can count?
Yeah,
mathematical excellence.
Yes,
that's what he has the star.
The star for.
This is my star of mathematical excellence. I was like...
Good on you, Adric.
Shut up, Adric.
But next week, we're going to be discussing State of Decay, the second in the E-Space trilogy. That's the one that I ultimately want to see most, because there's a rumor that it may somehow tie into Chibnall's run of the show.
Ooh,
so, potential spoilers there, obviously, but if you guys want to follow along, you can click the link in the description to grab your own copy of the DVD, or there are other streaming sites like BritBox that you can see classic Doctor Who stories legally.
But we don't really know what episodes BritBox has specifically.
Right. Yeah,
so
we don't know
just
for sure.
check it out and see if they have what you want.
Yeah, but if you guys are interested in catching that as soon as possible, by the time this episode goes on YouTube, our next episode for State of Decay will be on our Patreon page. So for those of you over there on Patreon, you guys get to see this a week early. And you guys are the bread and butter of what we do. You're fueling our fire in a sense. So we thank you from the bottom of our hearts, because you find that our stuff is worth putting money down at least once a month.
It's actually really humbling and really cool to see that people actually care about what we have to say, I guess. It's
so much so that it's worth their time and their money.
And it's not like just worth their time, but they want it. It's worth their future time. Because they are like supporting us to keep doing it.
That's a good point. Yeah.
So I think it's cool.
Yeah.
And thank you.
But we're gonna pull out our random Patreon user.
Boop.
Dan, 2 weeks in a row, Dan. What are you doing?
He's the ultimate Doctor Who fan. That's why.
If you guys do sign up to our Patreon account, you do get a potential shout out each and every week, or each and every video. Depending on if we remember to actually put it in our videos. Sometimes we forget, and this past week we've been pretty bad about it. But anyway, let's talk about Full Circle. Story 111. I think it's the third story in season 18 of Doctor Who, which is the final season of Tom Baker's run. He had a good run. It was 7 years. It's the longest that any Doctor's ever done.
Wow.
Most time on screen as a Doctor. And one of the first things you mentioned to me, Jen, when you were watching the episode, you mentioned like how easy it is for him to play the role.
Yeah, that's something that I noticed pretty early on. It doesn't even seem like he's acting. Like, he's not trying to be quirky or a certain type of humor or anything. He's just doing it. He's just... It's like he is the Doctor. It's great. Even one scene that I think of, some of the scenes where he doesn't even have dialogue is hilarious. Like, there's a scene where K9 is, like, looking through a spider web or something, and he just comes along and goes like that and puts his face right next to K9's, and then K9 needs to go forward, and he kind of, like, guides him through.
Yes.
And the way that he does everything is, like...
Follow them, K9. Master. Let me know where they settle.
He's really unfazed, too, which I think fits for a Time Lord of his age and background. Like, there's scenes where there's just, like, a guy laying dead on the floor, and he just kind of walks over, and is just, like, moderately, like, confused. Like, interested-ish.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny, like, how lighthearted, and he just seems like he's really having a good time.
There's a lot of great Tom Baker scenes in this, like the scene where everyone's announcing like who they are, like I'm Decider Logan, I'm Decider this, I'm Decider that, and he goes, and I'm the Doctor.
I'm the Doctor.
With a big
With
smile.
a big smile, like he turns around just like, and I'm the Doctor. Wow, Tom Baker, he really is the Doctor. He is. When you see stuff like that, you're just like, I get it. I get why he's everyone's favorite.
Yeah, I do. I see it already. I already have a really soft spot in my heart for him.
He's not trying at all.
He probably was trying. I mean, it had to have been a job
It's
for him.
easy for him. It
but
just rolls off.
It's just natural. It's
Yeah,
very
there you go.
organic, the way that he plays the Doctor, which I just loved it. I thought it was great.
Yeah. So, the Doctor and Romana begin the episode by discussing how the Time Lords want Romana back, and she needs to go, and she's kind of like moody about it.
Yeah, she doesn't want to go back to Gallifrey.
Clearly, she's having a good time with the Doctor.
And I don't really know her full thing, like why she has to go back or anything like that.
Yeah, it'll probably be explained in previous episodes, like Megalos or something like that. This is the first time I've actually seen this particular story full circle. So this is a review like that's completely fresh for both of us.
Fresh
It's
for
fresh
new
for
of
new
us.
of us. Romana sets the coordinates for Gallifrey, and she sets them correctly, but she hits a pocket of what they eventually realize is E-space, or it's like a negative space, which is a theoretical concept of like almost like entering a parallel dimension in space travel, basically.
I don't know.
Which is cool that the show tried to incorporate stuff like that in it, you know?
I love that it is a lot more sci-fi than some recent Who that we've seen even.
True.
I don't want to use the words hard sci-fi, but it seems...
Some of it is.
Some of it is. It's just...
If a scientist were to have seen this episode, they won't be scoffing at it. They'll be like, all right, at least they tried, you know?
Yeah, exactly. It's not like it's... I'm not a scientist, but it's not like it's perfect science or proven facts or anything like that, but I like that they find like scientific theories and just mess with them to make a story. I think that's really cool.
So,
What was up with the watermelon pickers? Like, everybody's trying to steal watermelons.
So yeah, when they get caught into E-space, the first thing that we see on this new planet that isn't Gallifrey at all is 4 or 5 kids or teenagers of, maybe young adults that are stealing fruits, which is it appears like the fruits are almost like the currency of the land, because everyone's like counting fruits and just silly stuff like that.
I couldn't tell. Some of them looked like papayas, too.
Yeah, some of them were papayas. Some of them...
Looked like watermelon.
some were definitely watermelon.
I love watermelon. That's my favorite fruit.
She has it all the time.
Big bowl.
It is a huge bowl of watermelon. She'll probably eat like a whole half of a watermelon. It's disgusting.
Yeah, it's actually exactly what I eat is a whole half. I put mint leaves. It's good.
With that, we are introduced to Adric, who you probably guessed is one of the future...
Well, the only reason why I guessed is because when we're watching the episode, you see this kid run by and Dakota goes, "Oh, Adric." And I was like, well, I guess he's a future companion.
Again, this is the first time I've seen this episode, so I didn't realize this was his introduction to the show. He has an interesting run. What did you think about him, Adric?
I don't know. I couldn't really say. I think he's...
Good actor?
Yeah, I didn't mind his
Matthew
acting.
Waterhouse?
Yeah, he wasn't perfect, but, he was pretty good. But he seems like the type of character who really needs guidance.
In his role?
In his role, he's, kind of a follower, and so it's weird, you kind of want him to be more of a leader. Towards the end of the episode, I started to like him more. We also watched an interview in, the special edition section of him, and I actually really like the actor's personality a lot. He's really funny, actually, and he seems like he was, really honored to have that role. So I'm excited to see what he does.
He was surprisingly knowledgeable as a new actor playing the role, because I don't expect actors like Jodie Whittaker or even Matt Smith or anyone like that to have this abundance of knowledge of Who from before your time, pretty much.
Yeah,
And he
because
said-
even Alex Kingston, when we saw her at New York Comic Con, like outright said that she didn't really watch any Doctor Who besides what she was in, and there was like a murmur in the crowd, an
Just
awkward
like a,
murmur of disapproval. But she's an actress. It's not like they have to. It's not like they're guaranteed to be geeks.
That's a job, yeah.
But it was cool to see that he was actually really geeky and really into it.
What's cool is that Peter Capaldi is actually like a huge Doctor Who fan, so he knows everything that they throw at him, which is great. Mm-hmm. But so Matthew Waterhouse, who plays Adric, is one of those people. According to the interview that we saw, which he was being asked random questions and he had like really legitimate answers to them, which I really appreciate. I didn't even know that about him. I kind of agree that like he needs more direction.
Yeah, and I'm hoping that the Doctor kind of helps him to be decisive, unlike everyone on his planet. And I think I really enjoyed the themes here, because what were they called? The decision-making people? The deciders. The deciders.
Our first task will be to choose a new decider.
Yes, of course. We thought of seeking your advice on the matter.
It was like a group of deciders who literally spend about 400,000 years not deciding anything and just kind of like staying in a loop.
Well, it was 4,000 generations. So a generation is probably about 30 years. I think.
Yeah, wow.
But
so
still,
it was, and like you have to factor in like evolution time and stuff like that, because they evolved from the what were they called? The Marshmen?
The Marshmen, yeah.
But I really liked. At one point, someone says, like, you know, that patience is a virtue, and the Doctor's like, okay, but how much patience could you possibly need?
You three are supposed to be leaders.
Certainly we are. Though, of course, Neefred is now the first decider.
Then Neefred is responsible.
For the community, yes.
No! Perhaps they haven't let you in on the secret, Logan. Shall I tell him, gentlemen?
Secret?
Yes, and the fraud! A perpetual movement. The endless tasks going round and round. The same old components being removed and replaced.
No, Doctor, that's too harsh. The preparations are necessary.
Preparations?
Right.
Like, at some point, you do have to make decisions, and it's really hard. Because you see all of the endless possibilities and the ways that things could go when you're in a position where it's like, do we leave our planet or do we stay? And I feel like that applies so much to daily life. Do I quit my job or do I stay at a job that I don't like? Do I look for something else? Do I have kids or do I not have kids? Do I buy a house? Do I not buy a house? What to do with your career or whatever. There are all these like crucial decisions that people have to make, and I thought it was an interesting concept of a race that doesn't make decisions and doesn't adapt, doesn't grow or move forward. So they got to the point where they were so stagnant that they forgot how to even leave.
For what? This Starliner isn't going anywhere.
But the manuals promise us a journey to Pterodon.
Yes, but it must be made ready first.
Ready? It's been made ready for centuries. This ship could take off in half an hour if you had a mind to it. What?
You know, I thought it was a really interesting point, and I think that's what I like about, from what I've seen about Classic Who, is they make full episodes about like really unique trains of thought. It's not like trying to blow your mind or anything crazy. It's just life lessons.
Life lessons. It's I guess it's a simpler time where political drama wasn't so emphasized in every single episode.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not. There's no undertone of PC culture or anything like that.
It's just a simple message.
It's just a Doctor Who story. It's a simple time in somewhere in space.
And I love that because it's world building. It's cool writing. It's different, interesting, cheesy characters.
They really get to play with the costumes that they create.
Yeah, they had like little quilty vests.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was cool. I really enjoyed it.
Even the Marshmen idea, like they came from these spider-like creatures and they evolved into these Marshmen, and then the Marshmen eventually evolved into these humans. It's just such an interesting idea, and that the fact that like every couple, maybe I think they said every 50 years was Mistfall,
mm-hmm.
like the fabled Mistfall, and
Mistfall.
That That wasn't actually poisonous?
That wasn't poisonous. It was just a tactic that the deciders used to basically keep the people in ignorance so that they could continue deciding nothing. Mm-hmm. It's funny, and it's...
But it's not like a huge message, and that's what I like about it, because it could apply to small things in life, or, like, huge things in life. You know what I mean? Like, decisions kind of factor in daily and globally, too. You know, so it could be a number of things, but I really like the simplicity in the way that they give the message, and they're really not rubbing your nose in it either, which I like. It's just there. I liked the ending where they have to, you know, make the decision together, and they put their hands on the button, but then the scene changes, and you're like, oh my gosh, are we never going to see, because he kind of turns, and you're like, are they never actually going to leave? But then at the end of the episode, you see the ship taking off.
The Starliner's taking off.
Well, they've made a decision.
So even at the end, they still had a little hesitation, but eventually they did it.
Right. I love the scene where the doctor's like, you could leave in half an hour. And they're just like, you're crazy.
And I feel like you meet people like that all the time who kind of complain about their current situation, complain, and then
they just don't do
anything about it. So it's like, just be decisive. If you're not happy, change your life. It's very motivating. I feel like whenever I face a decision, I'm going to think about this episode. I like it. It's very practical.
It'll come full circle.
It'll come full circle. Exactly.
What do you think of Romana? She gets stung by that spider or bit, and she kind of becomes a marshman, or like what would eventually become a marshman. What do you think about that?
I thought it was interesting, because then it's like, again, the full circle thing, like, because then basically the spiders evolve into the swamp things, and then the swamp things evolve into the humans, but then the humans bite the spiders, or the spiders bite the humans.
Humans.
And then they turn into spiders. Well, I guess it never goes completely full circle, because no one becomes a spider again.
No.
But it's the spider that brings them back. It's like the circle goes this way, and then it goes back that way. So it's not a full circle. It's kind of like it's just, I don't know. Is that a full circle? Whatever.
You get the point.
I liked those veiny things that they had on her face. That like.
Oh yeah, because they did.
That was like some pretty high tech stuff.
Yeah.
Like, I wasn't expecting that high tech. That was cool. But I thought she had like a weird relationship with one of the swamp, or one of the marshmen. It was like at one point she was like rubbing the other one's face, and I thought that like they were related somehow. I thought it was like a Freaky Friday, like they switched bodies. That's what I thought happened at first, but then that, like, I was completely wrong.
Yeah, I think that may have just been, like, the actress kind of exploring the role as, like, this, like, weird creature that doesn't act human, you know? Suddenly you act completely alien, and, like...
you could tell she was enjoying herself with all the...
Oh, yeah, totally.
She was liking that.
What about the marsh child?
Gently. Can't you see it's terrified?
What you mean? It's... Who are you?
Visitor.
How did you... You unsealed the entrance.
Yes, but I seal it up again. I'll try to leave things as they are. Shh. Come on.
The one at first, at the beginning?
Yeah, that was basically a child.
I thought it was actually really cute.
Yeah, it was. It was, like, sad that they were, like...
Torturing it?
I don't think they were torturing.
They had a scalpel to its head.
Actually, yeah, and they did drag it in a net, so I would consider that
that's
torture.
torturous a little bit, just a wee bit. And I thought it was cute because the doctor was so, like, consoling. Like, he could tell right away that it was a child.
Even though he was the exact same, like, size and shape as the rest.
Yeah, I'm curious to know, did it just have, like, abnormally large eyes and then the eyes shrink as it gets older?
I don't know.
I don't know. The world will never know.
What do you think of the actual costume? Like, obviously it's a rubber suit.
I liked it. I thought it was cool.
I like how they had, like, like low, flappy nipples.
Yeah, they had some saggy tatas.
Yeah.
Which I thought were cool.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I liked how you could, like, see the seam on the inside of their leg, like, but then they kind of, like, made it look like extra skin wrinkles that go down the leg.
Yeah.
But I actually really like the costumes. I like that they worked with what they had. You know, they did what they could. I really like Tom Baker's outfit in this episode. He was like the burgundy prince.
With a long scarf, yeah.
Yeah, it was cool. I enjoyed that.
Must have been so warm for him.
Yeah, that's true.
Think about filming with that.
Was he a big guy?
Yeah, he's like, I think he's 6'4".
Yeah, he seemed like really large, but you know, in movies or shows, it's hard to tell.
I particularly like the scene where he like takes K9's head and uses that in front of his face to kind of like scare off the Marshmen for a little bit. It's such a like a Tom Baker's Fourth Doctor thing to do.
It's a really simple solution.
It's a really
and
simple...
it worked for him for a little while.
Until
but then,
Romana got there.
Yeah, until Romana. But then he kind of had a simple solution for that. It's like, you, TARDIS.
Just like,
stay by the TARDIS.
Look, feel it, touch it.
TARDIS, TARDIS, TARDIS.
TARDIS.
TARDIS. Stay by the TARDIS. Stay by the TARDIS.
What do you think of this episode overall?
I really enjoyed it. And I'm not just like saying that because we're filming it. I actually genuinely liked it. It was campy, but
You're gonna get that in
like
Classico.
that's
Every
expected.
Classico.
But it actually still holds up so much. You know, as far as entertainment wise, I really was entertained by it.
The story makes sense. There's not a lot of plot holes.
And I liked the simplicity. It wasn't a try hard. You know what I mean? Like they tried, but it wasn't like. It was refreshing, actually. I really liked it.
And the great part of Classic Who is that they really do the best they can with what they're given. They don't have high-tech HD cameras or special effects that they can fall back on. This is just them with their standard cameras using and reusing sets to make it look like a much larger set. And
creativity.
Reusing like actors and like scenes that they had previously cut to make it feel larger. Even scenes where, like the scene where the Deciders are talking to the entire ship, it feels like it's a ship full of people.
Yeah, but when you actually kind of look, it's not a ton of people. Because there was just like a couple in the front, and then they changed to the next scene, and it's a bunch of people in the hallway.
Right.
So
they did a good job.
Yeah.
Like making it feel like, oh, they're not just talking to these 10 people in here, they're talking to the whole ship, and they show a few of those little scenes. And that's something that I find that new Doctor Who doesn't do well.
Yeah, no, they don't.
In the episode Smile, there's the generation ship, and apparently everyone wakes up, but you only see like 8 people. And that bothers me because there's so much you can do with that. Just it's not hire like extras.
But not even that. Like, you could do something like that where it's like more scenes of people walking through or scenes from them behind walking in other ways, so it makes it look a lot larger. It's almost like the thing is, like, Doctor Who is good without the budget, like, but it's nice that they have it now, so work with it.
Work with it.
Work it.
Alright, so final thoughts?
I'm really excited to watch more Tom Baker.
Yeah, next week, State of Decay. We're going to be definitely getting into that.
I love this guy already. Second story with him, and I love him.
Yeah? Okay, cool. And if you guys are watching this on YouTube, the next episode is already available for our Patreon followers, so if you guys want to check that out, you can do it. We'd love to have you. Mm-hmm. But I think Full Circle is pretty like underrated. Like when people like list their favorite stories of all time, you regularly see like City of Death and Caves of Androzani and Genesis of the Daleks and Pyramids of Mars, and you see those like pop up all the time. Rarely is Full Circle on that list, but I would actually consider it pretty high. Maybe top 15 of the classic series episodes I've seen.
Wow.
Yeah.
That escalated quickly.
It's a good one. It really is.
It's a gem in the rough.
It's not even that rough, actually. When you see other,
That's true.
Other Doctor Who.
Well, that's why it's a gem in the rough. It's not rough. It's a gem in the rough.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. All right, guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, please give us a like and subscribe if you don't already. Again, my name is Dakota.
And I'm Jen.
Have a good one, guys.
Bye.